Shalom Aleichem Rabbi Isai. If you did not yet follow my channel on Torah Anytime, now's the time to do so. I'd like to continue the thought that we started in the last year, that a new understanding of what Kavod means. Lo nagu kavod zavazeh. They didn't give room for the other, respect for the other, that he may also have a mahalach in kol Torah kula, or mahalach in a chelik of Torah, whatever, in our case scenario. This is what Kavod may mean, and something that we can work on as we get close to Kabbalah Satira, the Yom Tov of Keish Echad B'Leiv Echad, where we all are going to be Makabel Torah zusammen. I'll take this one step further. There's a famous Mishnah we all know, the Kinyane HaTorah. Many people try to learn this Mishnah and be koine the different Kinyanim of Torah during these days of Sefiras Haomer. Gedola Torah yesim nakunim min hamalchus. She'amalchus nigdas b'shloshim milas v'akuna be'esrim v'arba v'atorah nigdas b'arboim u'shemayin dvar. 48 ways that you could be koine Torah. And I think the regular way that we always learned, and many people learn this Mishnah, is that there are 48 kinyanim, and during Sefiras Haomer, dafka, 48 days, 49 days, whatever, we try to learn up and attach ourselves to these different kinyanim, and steig in all of them. B'talmud, b'shmes oizen, b'arichas fasayim, v'chulu, v'chulu, v'chulu. But with this new idea maybe that we presented on the concept of Kavod, I want to lay this Mishnah with a little bit of a different niggin. The Torah is nikne. It's niknes, barboim, u'shmoin dvarim. Similar to how an isha is niknes be gimel drachim. You don't have to be kind to her in all three drachim. That same isha is yours, 100% yours. If you're kind to her with kesef, or with shtar without kesef, or with bia without the other two. There's 48 kinyanim. Kinyan means that you acquire that thing. We're talking about acquiring Torah. You can be koine Torah, not a chelik in Torah, the whole Torah, with Talmud, with Shmias Oizen, with Arichas Fosaim. Possibly, again, a different niggin in the Mishnah. There are different ways to be koine Torah, and the Torah will look different from a person who is koine Torah with Shmias Oizen, or with Talmud, or with Arichas Fasaim, Binas Halev. I want to share with you, something that I think is something personal, but I think is very much found in today's generation. We see it happening. There's a system. There's a school system. There's a mahalach, how to produce chachma, if it's chachma satira or general studies, doesn't matter. There's a curriculum. There is a mahalach. There's a system that if you follow the system, if you succeed in the system, you will be successful, smart, whatever. Not everybody fits into this system. I'll tell you something personal. I can't read. For the life of me, my reading is down the tubes. I don't know what grade level reading I have, but I don't have such a great high vocabulary or high level of reading. It takes me a long time to read a book. Haven't read too many in my life, and but something else was overly powerful by me, and it got me, I wouldn't say far, but it got me to where I am today, that's for sure. I'll tell you a story. When I first came to yeshiva, I came to yeshiva a little bit late. I came when I was 18. That was the first time I sat in front of a Gemara, really. And I wasn't interested for the first half of the year, that's for sure not. But once, things started happening and I started saying, okay, I want to take this seriously, and I started coming to Shir. I remember I started coming to Shir. My Rebbe, Rabbi Zaydov, and I used to come to the Shir. And for weeks, if not longer, I came every day, and I just sat there. I sat there. Literally sat there and didn't open my mouth. And anybody who knows me, that's a big chiddush. I'm the talking type, I'm friendly, I'm loud, I laugh out loud. I'm that type of guy. I'm a charismatic type of fellow. I'm not the quiet type of guy, b'chlal not. And I came and I was terribly quiet, terribly, terribly quiet. And I remember when the first time I don't remember what I said, but the first time I opened my mouth in the shir, like asking a question, I remember my Rebbe looking at me and he's like, oh my gosh, he speaks. He literally thought I was a mute because the first half of the year I never showed up. And then I decided to come and I was quiet, just quiet. Literally not a word came out of my mouth, so much so that he thought that I couldn't speak. So what was I doing? We're talking about a time where I'm sitting in front of a Gemara. I didn't even recognize Rashi letters. I didn't know which ones are which. I didn't know anything. Nothing, in reading. I had a vocabulary, a Hebrew, possibly, a Hebrew vocabulary from my upbringing, but actual letters, I didn't know, for sure not Rashi letters. And I was simply paying attention, like undivided attention, to everything he was saying. Oh, that's a aleph. Oh, that's a hey. That's a ches. Okay, fine, very good. And I was going, and I was getting it in there until I learned how to read Rashi letters. And one thing after that, I remember it was one Gemara, one Rashi after the next. And it became like a thing. Like my Rebbe was like, no, you got the Rashi. They wanted me to get, Pasha Gemara Rashi. They weren't pushing me to Tosfos or anything like that. Not yet. Every single Rashi, every single Gemara, every single Rashi that we did. And I learned, and I learned, and I learned, and I learned. Another thing happened is I came out of TJ and they sent me to Lakewood East. Lakewood East. Shocking. Very yeshivish place. Why would... Yeah. I became like a yeshivish, guy, in funny clothing. Simply because I was drinking with unbelievable thirst everything my Rebbeim were saying, their mannerisms, the way they spoke, their vocabulary, everything. I was kebiyachol, I was koine Torah with shmiyas ha'ozen. And everything came from that. And even in the later years, the shiurim that I've been listening to, the Rebbeim that I've been following, and the Torah that I learned just from listening to them. Somebody asked me, did you ever take a course in speaking? I used to laugh at him. I said, yeah. I used to go to shmooze every week. Rabbi Brazil shmooze. You go to shmooze, you learn how to speak. Rabbi Brazil is a phenomenal mashgiach, a brilliant man, and his delivery is world class. It's world class. So you go to shmooze for 5-10 years straight. You never miss a shmooze, even by Shana Rishana. You don't miss a shmooze. You learn. Not only the Torah that they say, you learn from them. For some people, I don't know. So something's excelling by me. I may not be the greatest problem solver, in mathematics or different things, that, grade you in your scholastics, in the school system. But there's something called Shmiyas Ha'ozen. There's something called Binas Halev. People don't understand what Binas Halev is. Binas Halev is when, I'll explain it very briefly. You can give a whole shir what Lev means. But there is a mahalach to learn with Lev. And I think, I have that, and I'm gifted with that, and people when I say certain things, like, wow, it's just Lev, and you could be koine the whole Torah with that. You can be koine. These are kinyonim of Torah. Shmiyas ha'ozen, binas halev, shimush chachamim, shimush talmidei chachamim. The schus I had to sit by G'dolei Olam, in my opinion, and I think I'll argue this very, very powerfully with anybody, even though you never heard of my Rebbeim, could be, but I'm telling you, they're from the G'dolei Yisrael today. They're from the G'dolei Yisrael. Biggest Talmidei Chacham, biggest Masmidim, biggest Tzadikim. For sure. There's no question in my mind. Shimush Talmidei Chacham. So many things over here. Yishuv, just sitting down. I remember taking me down memory lane with this year. Like in TJ, there was something called 8 straight. Just sit in the basement just for 8 hours. 8 hours. Don't leave the base medrash. They brought you food. Just don't leave those doors. Just sit. Yishuv. Koine Torah. These are kinyonim that you can be koine the Torah. Not stam like, a person wants to get all 48 kinyonim. Could be that's a pshat. And I'm not saying it's not a pshat. But there's something else, a different niggin going on in this Mishnah. You could be koine the Torah with one of these drachim. The 24,000 Talmidim, they had drachim. Each one of them had a derech, which was mefarish the Torah in a different way. Torah is huge. Torah is massive. It's beyond our hasaga. It has so many different shades. That's the Kavod of Torah. Kavod takes up space. It's infinite. It's enormous. Everybody has a chelik. I think this is a good extension to the Vard, and it gives us another idea of what's going on in this Mishnah possibly, which can allow us all to find our derech and grow and be Makabel Torah the way Hashem wants us to be Makabel it with our koiches and our chidushim. Be'ez Hashem, we be givaldik.